Thank you for waiting. So now I'd like to start Q&A session. So let's have an active discussion. So we appreciate your participation. So let me explain the flow of the Q&A session. For Q&A session, we are going to have 1 hour. So you are going to receive the question from both the participant in venue and online. So please raise your hand if you are on the venue, and if you are online participant, please put the hand raise button. So we are going to nominate the person who are going to ask questions. For those who are on the venue, we are going to bring you a microphone. So I'm going to limit it to 2 questions per person, and we are going to answer per question. Please state your name and the company you belong to, and share your question.
From the venue, Hirakawa-san, please. I am Hirakawa from BOB Securities. Thank you very much for the presentation. My first question. I have a question on FDE. While scaling HMAX horizontally, HDE will assume a very important role. And FDE came from Palantir. From the stickiness of the customer point of view, I hope HMAX will be like that. But from scale perspective, I think the challenge is scaling this. But what you explained today, FDE, you said, plays a central role when scaling. So what is the difference between Palantir's FDE and Hitachi's FDE? What is the difference so that Hitachi's FDE can scale? And how is it different from field engineering FDE? Answer. Thank you for the question, Hirakawa-san. I think you touched on a very important point. Digital FDE and physical AI FDE, I would like to separate. Starting from the digital FDE, Palantir FDE is a model. And as Abe-san mentioned in his presentation, the domestic SEs we have about 335,000 SEs domestically. And they have been certified with levels in each technological field, bronze, silver, and gold. And we also have levels for project management. So each SE has his or her own technology, and they are dispatched to the customer site. So this is our traditional way of working. And AI has been added as one of the technologies to offer value at the customer site. We already have a foundation for scaling in the digital domain. On the other hand, for physical AI, the situation is a little bit different. For it to scale, we are now practicing and acquiring experience through customer zero. One important example is in the mobility sector. The AI team has been established 2 years ago, and there are members dispatched from DSS and also OT members who are from the rail, and they form one team to apply physical AI to customer zero. And we will be making use of this insight so that we can deploy this to other customers. For example, Tobu is one customer, which we already announced. So we will move on to the phase where we introduce it to multiple customers. HMAX is becoming a solution where we have sufficient insight. So we are going into a phase where the FDE team will deploy that horizontally. Is that like a Hitachi FDE? Thank you. My second question. In today's presentation, what impressed me the most is Hitachi will be implementing social infrastructure operating system. And in the slide, I found HMAX energy, HMAX mobility, HMAX industry. There were the three circles shown in the DSS presentation, and I felt that these are intended to be connected. This HMAX energy, mobility, and industry. For example, in industry, just-in-time synchronization of production and logistics is something you can do. And in this industry, HMAX, you have semiconductor, facilities, and healthcare. I feel that you don't have enough parts to get this cycle running. But to realize this big social infrastructure pictures, please tell me how you will be developing this HMAX industry. This might be beyond 2030. Answer. Thank you for the question. I would like to comment, and then Amiya-san will respond. You are right in saying that HMAX industry will connect to other areas, and for it to work as social OS, it needs more work to do. There are missing parts. Where we are starting in HMAX industry is facility areas, escalators and elevators, and semiconductor, where the demand is surging. For facilities, it's building. For semiconductor manufacturing, it will be the factory. The data will be accumulated from these places, and we will connect that to energy system to achieve optimum energy consumption. I think we can offer value like that. But as you mentioned, Hirakawa-san, by the field of physical AI expanding, it is true that we can offer a broader customer value. And that will be expanded under the lead of CEO Mr. Amiya. Do you have any comments, Mr. Amiya? Thank you for the question. So where we intend to start and expand to accelerate. We have strong products and data is generated there, and physical AI will be developing there. So this is the vertical part where you build physical AI for multiple domains. For example, we have etchers and coating, and by building physical AI for each of these domains, they will be connected to become agentic AI to really offer value. So we will be taking these steps, and this will be the three domains or facilities. This step is extremely important, and I think this will be a big differentiating factor and value for us. And how we can realize social implementation so there are areas where we start from our facility domain and AI semiconductors. By combining that, we have AGB automatic carry or robotics. By working together with partners, we can really build vertical systems and then connect that and links that to society. So there are areas where we can do it by ourselves and what partners do. By combining that, we will be building more and more HMAX so that they can be connected together. Thank you.
Any other questions? So Yasui-san from the venue, please. Thank you. Yasui from UBS Securities. The question number one is about energy segment. This is the first time AI-related billion-dollar revenue was achieved this time. So this growth, starting from 2024 to 2025, you show the big growth by having the diagram. So the products which led. So normally transformer will be the leading product to grow that growth. But the last year, Tokunaga-san had a collaboration with us, some Altman from OpenAI, and electricity is in shortage, so that there is a possibility coming from a digital world. The other day, the digital infrastructure will be established. That business model was announced. So the future, the business related to data center, not only transformer in energy, any other product like data center infrastructure, including differentiator as well, if you share the growth. Yasui-san, thank you for your question. So as you pointed out, the data center demand is expanding so rapidly. So the last month when I met with the US investors, the data center area was their interest. What kind of revenue you are generating, what kind of products and services that you can provide, those questions were received a lot. And actually, Andreas prepared this slide and only talking about data center as well. So this is the slide we are talking about. So beyond this, so behind this, so I'd like to Andreas to comment on this.
Thank you for your question. I think if you talk about data center, it's not only transformers, it's actually the grid connection what we are providing. So it means transformer and the substation and partly even the distribution, so solid state transformer on a medium voltage level. So why we are thinking that we can be successful there, because we started with containerized solution. Data center customers are in difference to utilities, completely different. They normally don't know exactly what they need, so they are more going for a kind of specification where the function is specified. So we have that. Show me a technical solution, so they are much more flexible. So we can provide standardized solutions which are fulfilling their need in a fast way if we can supply, like with containers. And that's why we believe that we can grow in that area with our portfolio quite significantly.
And toward the 2030, you are thinking about the energy as a service type of solution?
But these are different things what we are exploring. For our data center customers, of course, there's a ratio between CapEx and OpEx is essential as well. If you build a data center, you are spending CapEx. So what we are offering as well in the discussion with customers is that we are able to leasing or renting our equipment. So it means that you pay by the hour, like in the gas turbine business for jets. Power by the hour, you can actually lease and rent the equipment from us as well, and you pay as you go. That's a possibility as well. But that's a financial optimization which gives us just more edge in our customer relations.
So the energy as a service looks really interesting. It's kind of new business to the Hitachi. So that sometimes in the future, you're going to disclose the potential markets, like a business side of this business, because you were just launching this business. So I'm personally very interested in the kind of new initiative.
It could be a new business line. We will see how big is the demand and how big is the volume and how much we want to afford of that, because it's a kind of financial service coupled with a technical service. And of course, we will definitely balance our portfolio. But if the demand is big enough, definitely, why not?
Thank you very much. 2つ目の質問は、これは
My second question is to Abe-san and Tokunaga-san on IT services. Insourcing. So how do you take insourcing? This might be a nasty question, because when I think software can be developed very quickly by using AI. Some customers might start insourcing. For example, the other day, the CEO of Fujitsu was saying he takes for granted that the companies will start insourcing. But as you say, mission critical is extremely important and you need the data fabric. But so that is about 60 to 70% of the customers. However, about 30% of the customers will start developing by themselves. So how do you see this risk? Thank you for the question. This is the answer. So the customers starting insourcing, I think that will happen. But when you say insourcing, it might not be the customers developing by themselves by hand, but the AI will be developing the system on their behalf, or on our behalf. I don't think this can be avoided. So before, the customer did something and vendor did another thing. But going forward, the insights of both parties come together, or agentic AIs from both sides, from Hitachi and the customers, working together. So that is the vision we hold. What Abe-san mentioned in the presentation, that is what we mean by agentic integration. Hitachi has project management knowledge and testing knowledge, and we will have AIs who have that knowledge, and the customers know the details of their operations and their business, and they will have the AIs with the knowledge of their own operations and business. And by these two AIs working together, and we will also be working as one with the customers. So it's no more like who does what. It will be more an integrated process. That is why we are proposing this agentic integration. When we have that, there will be no longer a side which places orders, the other side receives the order. It will be probably more like a joint venture or something else. So rather than thinking about whether the work is done within the customer or externally, it would be more like doing it together. And in a sense, it will be like more a service or outcome-based business. Abe-san, do you have any additional comments? Actually, I don't. Domestic and overseas, I think the situation is a little bit different. In Japan, we have customers and system integrators. There is this share of roles and responsibilities, especially in the mission-critical area. And Hitachi has been delivering our development based on the deadline, and we have been doing that. So there's not much impact there. We are improving our efficiency, productivity using agents. However, overseas, global logic, there are customers who are starting to develop on their own. So there is pressure on the pricing. Well, that's why we are trying to utilize global logic resource to transform Hitachi Group's OT sectors and DSS sector transformation. So global logic is really being very useful to transform the OT sectors and DSS, and we would be using them more and more in FY26 and beyond. And also, standalone business, we would like to move on to value-based business rather than time and material. There's a company called Hitachi Digital Services outside Japan, and they're already doing value-based business. We will be moving more and more to businesses which charges based on value, and also we will be converting people to FTEs. Thank you.
So I'd like to take another question. So Harada-san from the venue, please. So I'm Harada from Goldman Sachs Securities. Thank you very much. So I have two questions. At first question, Tokunaga-san said in the beginning, like AI, whether it's a threat or opportunity. So it is an opportunity that was clearly said by Mr. Tokunaga. So would you elaborate on that a little bit more? I mean, you have Lumada, and you are utilizing digital for long years. So the discussion about AI has been changing in the past 1 year alone. So the change about AI discussion is something shifting your pathway about Lumada business in the future. Like by AI, in 10 years' time, you wanted to realize such and such, but you will be able to do it within 5 years, whether you can accelerate that time or its type may be much expanding 10 years' time. Yes, Harada-san, thank you very much for your question. As you just explained, AI is really a good opportunity for us. So when it comes to Lumada perspective, so what it means to Lumada is as follows. As you explained some examples, like we have HMarks has been established. But to be honest, if we hope we want to do something like HMarks. That has been our aspiration 3 years ago, but suddenly it has been realized with speed. This is due to AI evolution. So how much acceleration we achieved is not easy to be calculated when we started to see ChatGPT in 2022. Starting from that timing, like 3 to 5 years were able to be shortened for initiatives. That's what I feel. On top of that, in the past, what's totally different from past Lumada is when we see Lumada, of course, we accumulate our knowledge and experience to make a solution under Lumada. But, human beings were not aware of something. So by having the use cases where people are not aware of or knowledge can be accumulated that humans are not aware of, so that new values were taught by AI to us. So we can provide such new values learned from AI to our customers. That is my understanding. So we will have to promote this flow. We started from mobility for HMAX, and we want to expand it for the other areas. And also, you questioned earlier, the HMAX, which is across the several industry, and we want to link horizontally so that we can create OS for social infrastructure. Okay, thank you very much.
Second question. On the page 16 in energy presentation, the solid-state transformer. And overseas, I think this is talked about with great enthusiasm. I would like to hear Hitachi's strengths in this area, because you have been handling transformers for many years. And I think you also you might be able to convert what you already have in the industry to apply to this area. And when will this start contributing to revenue? And are you already talking to customers about this?
Specific question for the solid-state transformer. So please.
Yeah. Yes, thank you for the question. So the solid-state transformer is actually a new solution which is actually reducing the space for data center customers. It's not a complete new concept or technology. You're still going with a medium voltage transformer from one end of the voltage to a DC voltage used in data center. Normally, you're doing it with a normal medium voltage distribution transformer, and then you add an inverter to generate the DC. Data centers in the space we are seeing it today with 1 gigawatt, 2 gigawatt, 3 gigawatts, they are huge, they are enormous. So space is becoming a constraint. And in a solid-state transformer, you're combining the inverter together with the transformer in one piece, which is saving space. It's a little bit more expensive. It's a little bit more efficient eventually if you're doing it right, but it's in the main point of economics, it's space consuming. And we are long enough in the transformer business how to do that. So we deal with that. We are developing these special type of dry transformers for rail as well, for instance, because they are very sought after there. So we are quite confident that we can make a difference here.
Understood very well. Thank you very much.
So any other questions? So from the venue, Yamasaki-san, please. Thank you very much. I'm Yamasaki from Nomura Securities. I have two questions as well. The first question is about the strategy to expand HMAX. You explained already, but in particular, for digital assets of the other parties, how you can expand your sale to their digital assets owned by other customers. So mobility selling 35% for non-Hitachi fleet. That has been successful for mobility. But why it was successful? And for the other three sectors as well, how you are going to expand your install base and customer base through digital service. Do you have any specific digital service scenario to expand customer base? So by acquisition, if you acquire service companies or a company who has customers' assets, could be if you have any easy or difficult to purchase such a company by sector, could you share that with us? Yes, Yamasaki-san, thank you very much. So to scale the HMAX, this is an important point. So we have one important model, which is HMAX mobility. So after I comment on this, and then Giuseppe is going to answer how we are able to apply our HMAX to other parties or stocks. So we have track record, which is a really important source to expand for the other companies' rolling stocks. But that will be commented later. But the other important point is that in Mr. Amiya's presentation, the horizontally roll out has some key components, whether we have the key components or not, to expand horizontally. This is one more point, which is important. So we are preparing HAI semiconductor. So that will be deployed to other party products so that we can collect the data, and also equipment of other parties can be operated. And then HMAX can increase the scale. That will be explained by Mr. Amiya later.
Yes, thank you, Yamazaki-san. Of course, we can build up on our experience. We started almost 7 years ago in the UK by utilizing our technology. And we have unique technology in the sensors. So already 6 years ago, we bought a company for vibration sensor, last year Omnicom. So we can bring our own sensor technology, which is a big differentiator, as well as our platform combined with domain competence is giving us a big advantage. Now we're moving, as you said, in the 35% with other customers, and through clever devices, which is the acquisition we said before, we're also moving into other areas like buses or other way of transportation. So we are moving horizontally and vertically, creating a large data set and possibility to do, as we said, improve reliability, improve energy efficiency, or even combining having traffic data. Compared to other models, we do own the data, and also we do own synthetic data because, as Abe-san said, we get a lot of expertise from Hitachi Digital, so we can also do a lot of simulation.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So as Tokunaga-san explained earlier, there has been the evolution of HAI. So the players who produce their products and how they can make intelligence of their products so that they can be a physical AI flow. This is the common challenge for every player here. We actually developed Edge semiconductor, which is exactly a collaboration with such customers, and then we can add OT, which possessed by us. So we together can consider how we can do together, and we have similar products. So we can utilize HAI. If we utilize such and such, we can simulate it right away to customers so that we want to expand it. So one more addition. is that in the connected industry and the key component, like yesterday, we announced the air conditioning with Bosch. So we have a key component. On top of that, HMAX for building can be utilized as it is in the collaboration. So this is exactly one of the approach to expand HMAX under CI. Let me add from digital field. So we have many fields, including factories and plants. So within factory plants, of course, they use our own products, but other products are introduced for the production facilities. So from the user's perspective, if we such and such, we can reduce this energy consumption or energy efficiency can be improved. If we provide it, they would like to do it with us. The partner who provide such facility are using our product as well. So that ecosystem, it's not the IT field ecosystem, that IT can contribute to that as well. This is additional information from our side. Thank you very much.
The next question about the effect of internal use of AI. In Inspire 2027, you mentioned about you expect an impact of about 100 billion yen. So what is the progress? And do you see more potential benefits of applying AI, your internal productivity increase? Thank you for the question. Answer. So I would like to first comment, and then Kato-san will talk about the numbers. The internal use is extremely important. To achieve more than the plan, we have Hatakeyama-san as Deputy CFO and Fujimori-san, who is responsible for IT. So these two senior vice presidents, we are leading this. So 100 billion yen in FY27, we will not change the target, but we are trying to achieve even more than that, and we are trying to accelerate that. Kato-san, do you have any addition? Just a little bit. Originally, applying AI to customers' operations, we have already started 2 years ago. For example, as Abe-san mentioned in his presentation, Global Logic is providing the tools, and these are getting ready. So we are trying to use that internally. And we have started this organization to utilize AI internally this April. And we need technology, and we just announced our partnership with Anthropic. So we have not yet updated this number of 100 billion yen, but I think this will expand further. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, from the venue, Fukuhara-san, please, from the venue. I'm Fukuhara from Jefferies. Thank you very much today as well. My first question is this time in DSS revenue margin in FY27. So the growth for revenue is not changed, but profitability was upgraded. So you have fierce competition for the overseas, and IT investment is being constrained. That's why. So what would be probability to achieve your target? I just wanted to confirm it again with you. Fukuhara-san, thank you very much for your question. So this is exactly the plan for DSS. So I like Mr. Abe to answer to your question. So the answer is thank you very much. As I said in the presentation as well. So in Japan, the business, we have the strong business demand in Japan. So it means there are many legacy systems operated in Japan. So customers will utilize AI to improve their competitiveness and agility as well. So modernization and AI implementation needs are quite high in Japan. So how much confident am I? I'm confident. So we should be able to achieve it. On top of that, as I said, so the collaboration with OT sector has been progressed. So we utilize global logic in FDE to be trained so that we can generate profit. So that in the Inspire 2027, we would like to make a foundation toward 2030. So let me add to this. So as was mentioned, AI is evolving, and in Japan in particular, modernization needs quite high, which is the source of the driving profitability. And as I was saying in the presentation, Mr. Abe, portfolio reform is really continuing without any discontinuation. So the higher profitability we'd like to focus on the business where we can expect high profitability. That's why, based upon that, we are focusing on high growth and high profit business.
Second question, HMAX and physical AI. You have shown the revenue projections, but how do you see the contribution to profitability? If the profitability is high, I think competitors will come up. If you look at 5 years down the road, what is your current business strategy? Answer. Thank you for your question. As you said, HMAX has high growth. In Abe-san's presentation, it said 50 to 60% growth. HMAX is expected to continue to grow at a very high rate. And profitability, we believe we will be able to maintain the profitability of more than 20%. Why we can do that? IT, OT product. So we are able to converge all the insights for IT, OT, and product. And that is a big differentiator on implementing physical AI. Needless to say, many parties talk about physical AI. But companies which can apply internally and then scale externally, I don't think there are many players in the market who can do that. When we bring HMAX to the customers, we actually don't see much competitors on HMAX when we bring this to customers. And by really improving this HMAX, as we go along, I think we will run into competitors, but we would like to continue increasing our competitiveness, and that would lead to maintenance and expansion of growth and profitability. Thank you.
So any other questions? Yeah, Fujiwara-san from the venue. The question? Thank you. I'm Fujiwara from Citigroup Securities. I have two questions. The first question is, this time HMAX, in particular for the industry area, I have some questions. Each company started to talk about physical AI. So in the future, I believe the AI want to utilize AI to optimize the total factory or plant, I believe. So hardware companies are promoting physical AI recently. So with this AI system, is it something that Hitachi is going to manage? Or you like to replace the existing one with your own AIs? Or are you going to have the combining your own AI and other companies' hardware AIs together so that you can provide optimal solution as a total? I just want to know how you want to establish the plant and factories in the future. This is my first question. Fujiwara-san, thank you very much. So answer. So the important point, and you are looking forward in the future. So I don't think there is an answer to this. So in the future, I don't know whether one company, I don't think one company can manage everything. I don't think one company can control everything. Hetero perspective. So the customer should like to choose the best product, the best service in one environment. But key is data. In knowledge-based model, which is AI model based upon knowledge, how we can manage control those data and knowledge model AI is important for the future growth. So that's why I said OS in my presentation. So data and AI should be possessed by us, and then on top of that, apps or application can be combined between ours and the third parties' applications based upon customers' request. That will be the future factories, not only factories, but also the other field and domain. That will be the case, I believe. So do you have anything about industry? Fujiwara-san, thank you very much for your question. Yes, that is really an important point. So in the past, customers are not really disclosing data to us. That was difficult for us to receive data. And then, as I explained today, I explained the growing area today, and with AI evolution, but also customer technology has been developing so fast, and they have to reach payback period earlier with having faster investment decision. So instead of customer doing it by themselves alone, partnering with a company like us, they can have the earlier payback period so that they can realize their aspiration earlier. That is a loop they want to achieve. So when we look at the factory, which combination can deliver best results should be our focus. And if we want to focus totally, but if we want to focus on something we alone cannot do, some areas, we have products and data that we can provide, and that should be combined with the partners' asset so that we can create combined values. That is a physical AI value creation that is satisfied by customers. Of course, we want to strengthen what we are strong at, and the value we want to provide to customers, we want to partner with our partners. So we don't believe we can do everything by ourselves. So we want to have the good collaboration with the stronger partners so that we can create customers' value in the ecosystem. And the processes and functions of the core part of the customers is something that we want to deliver based upon our technology and data.
Thank you. Second question about mobility. Mobility towards FY27, in the revenue target, the other sectors have clearly stated the M&A targets. So in rail, what are your thoughts on M&A? What do you intend to acquire? Answer. Giuseppe is now considering this very deeply. So I would like Giuseppe to comment on possible M&As.
Thank you for the question. We have three different kinds of M&As. The first one is HMAX related on competencies. We have seen Clever Devices or Omnicom. Second one, it's more related to the specific growth in multimodality, and we are looking at having a larger database like traffic or similar areas. So we're doing a detailed valuation on the possibilities, the market, the profitability of this area. And the third part, it's expansion into new markets. So the world is growing, a number of countries are growing, and we expect the growth in some markets, as seen in some chart, we expect some big growth in the southern part of the world. So we're looking at these three different possibilities, and it's, of course, it's a very detailed analysis, and we're moving. Now that we completed successfully quite a number of acquisitions, so we know how to proceed quickly. And now that GTS especially is completed, we can concentrate our energies on the next big one.
I would like to add, Giuseppe just mentioned the various types of M&As. So it's not a pie in the sky. We have specific targets in mind, but we cannot give you any clear indications or company names, but we can assure you that we have clear targets in our minds. Thank you very much. That's all.
So any other questions? So Yoshikawa-san from the venue. The question, Yoshikawa from Morgan Stanley. So I have two questions. My first question is to Tokunaga-san. In the past 1 year, expanding HMAX, you have hyperscaler, global AI enablers, you are announcing the collaborations, and you've discussed with them in that activities. So as a strategic strength, its IT, OT products combination was mentioned in various occasions. On the other hand, while you have your dialogues, how do you see the challenges that you have at Hitachi? And to overcome such challenges, how do you think that you can promote such problem solving? Ishikawa-san, thank you for your question. The answer, as you mentioned, so HMAX and Lumada expansion topic in the past 1 year, actually, in order for us to expand AI ecosystem, I have met with various CEOs to date. So through the dialogues with those CEOs, but at first, let me talk about our basic idea why we started to discuss with these CEOs. People are talking about monetization of AI so loudly, but the model area, in particular LLM field, is becoming more public domain in the future. So instead of deciding who to partner with, each company has its strengths and weaknesses, so ecosystem should be evolved by partnering various partners. So why we discuss IT or the products was mentioned by yourself, and every player, like recently OpenAI and Anthropic are some examples. When we talk to them, Hitachi has a 5-layer kick, the energy at the bottom and application at the top. Hitachi can provide every layer. That's why the people who are dealing with the models, of course, they will discuss application with Hitachi. The energy area to operate up can be discussed with Hitachi. That's why, as a partner, it's really rewarding. That was mentioned by Sam Altman. So beyond it, to expand this business, what kind of challenge I see is, so this is something that I'm telling this to you, like One Hitachi, since I took this principle. In the past, we only talk about apps. That was the end of the discussions. And transformation, energy, we discussed only that transformer and energy. But how we can connect that to Hitachi other businesses, that has been the area that I was paying attention to. So by gathering those elements, we can have more number of opportunities that is identified by our people. When we talk with the Lip Bhutan from Intel, we are not only talking about Hitachi High-Tech CDSM, there's a solution and energy optimization to operate plant is part of the discussions. So all the Hitachi capabilities should be able to be delivered to customers for their help. So that is a really important challenge that I have.
Second question is about CI. In the business portfolio transformation, You have mentioned the expansion of your sensing portfolio. Looking at it from external perspective, I think you have very strong CD-SEM, SE-SEM, and sensing portfolio, but that has not really broadened. So what will change? Do you think the scale of M&A will increase? So is there anything else? Answer. Thank you very much for the very important question. So this is what I have been talking all this time with CI sector. Amiya-san will be happy to respond. I think that's a very important point. Up till now, why this area did not expand? I think there are two reasons. Before, we were shipping products, and we just shipped it, and that was the end. And then we shifted to maintenance. So that was the business model. As I said earlier, things are getting very complex, even for only semiconductors. So we want to shorten the time to market. So we need data. For example, one process only completes by combining various sensing. So combining this data and the sensors, detectors, which generate these data. So the business is really now shifting to service. So that really underpins the future expansion. And depending on what is coming, we need to enhance or change the combination of what we have. So we already have CD-SEM technology with lasers, but we need to think about what material combination we need for X-ray. And for healthcare, how can we use optical for healthcare? So we need to really think about what to combine with each other. Generating data by combining multiple detectors and optimizing the process and shortening the time to market. So we need to draw a clear roadmap and do whatever we need to do step by step. And wherever we need to collaborate, we will collaborate. So we need to have this overall picture, and this we have as a result of this extensive discussion with Tokunaga-san. And I would just like to add one thing. When we think about CI sector business model, mobility and energy is our model. They start with strong products, and they made that digital to generate services. I think that is the winning model available to Hitachi now, and now we are realizing that. What is CI sector's #1 product? There's quite a lot where CI sector's product is #1, but as Yoshikawa-san mentioned, we were not able to capitalize on that fully. We should have this #1 product and attach some supplementary products onto that #1 product, and then offer that with services. I think that is the winning strategy for CI.
The next question, Ayata-san, please, from the venue. The question. Thank you. I'm Ayata from JP Morgan Securities. I have two questions. My first question is about energy. So short-term and long-term perspectives. So for the short-term perspective at first, in the last fiscal year, you made an upward revision for the performance, and you actually did upgrade forecast provision, and you did it every 6 months to upgrade, or in particular margin forecast. So I want to know which is a factor to change your margin forecast. And I think projects are already fixed, so the profitability should be able to be available when you have the fixed project. But on top of that, for the shorter term, you upgraded your margin. Is it because production efficiency is the factor so that you can improve that margin, or you took a conservative look at first to generating margin forecast? And for the long-term perspective, so the backlog of 2030 is $100 billion. This visibility and investment amount. So you say 6 billion yen up until 6.6 billion up until 2027. So would it be expanding in 2030 for the investment? So Ayata-san, thank you. The answer. Thank you very much. For the short term, the margin forecast has been upwardly upgraded. So what kind of initiatives to support this upward revision of the margins? So this is the first question. The second question is about 2030, 100 billion yen visibility. You want to have more answers, so I want Andreas to answer to your question.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think in regards of the short term, it's a question of the upgrading. Of course, we are constantly looking at our figures and our projects and our performance, where we are standing, and if we have to make some adjustments. You are right, some of the projects are fixed if we book them, but some of them not. Especially more complex projects like HVDC are covering normally 3 to 4 years in execution, and they have, of course, risk buffers in it, and of course, things you cannot control. Some of these contracts have as well some additional bonuses if you energize the lines ahead of line or on time, or maybe later, then you have a malus. You only know that if you approach the end of that project. And at the moment, we are performing there very well. That's why we were able to upgrade this particular part. But it's not completely true that you know it in the moment you book it. This is a dynamic process, especially in the projects which we have. And then, of course, you have uncertainties like supply chains. If you're doing HVDC things in Saudi Arabia, for instance, then, of course, supply chains can be impacted. So we have a rather conservative approach in looking forward on projects. On efficiency levels, of course, if we know that efficiency is kicking in, as I have shown it in my presentation, then of course we are applying that to our forecast and updating our results as we see these efficiencies are kicking in. For the long term, I think you're right. We are forecasting for 2030 a backlog of around 100 billion plus framework agreement and capacity reservations. And as I've told you, we are only investing if we have a bankable business case. If the backlog is developing in that direction, we are not excluding that we are investing more capex if we have the orders on our hands, and it is a very conservative business case. So I would expect, yes, you could see more capex investments in our sector going forward. In a very conservative approach, we are not building overcapacity, so we are not building anything which is not sold or which is not realistic. So we're not changing our risk profile there. Thank you.
はい、ありがとうございます。あと2点目は
Second question. Data sovereignty. Last year in this Investor Day, in the energy sector, the service revenue was low because there are customers who did not want to connect to the cloud. So that's why service revenue does not grow. I think you mentioned that last year. This data sovereignty, as mentioned in industry, but energy and mobility is more mission critical. So is there a risk of this data sovereignty being a roadblock to increase service revenue? Maybe not cloud-based AI, or would there be a demand for edge AI model going forward? Thank you for the question. Answer. About sovereignty, many people have their opinions. As I mentioned in a previous answer, in the long term, AI model would become a public good. I think that is the long-term direction. But having said that, data is an area which will be the competitive factor between the customers. How much of that data will the customer be willing to disclose to the partners? I think the customers are very sensitive about that. So one is handling of the data, and how much of the data, to what extent the data will be visible to the partner. That is another thing. And since this data is a competitive area, we won't be able to fully share this data. If we are to really work deeply with the customer, one way is to establish a JV and share the data within this joint venture, or maybe we can have a service where we will only return the result and not see the content of the data. We have a deep understanding that data will be a competitive factor, and we would like to adjust the business model according to that. As of this moment, there is a discussion on having a Japanese AI. And I talked about AI becoming a public good. So there are areas where this sharing cannot happen. Together with other companies, we would like to be involved in the development so that we can make use of such AI. That's all. Thank you.
Any other questions? So, the Oka-san from online participation, the Japanese channel, please. Question. Thank you very much. I'm Oka from Daiwa Securities. I have two questions. My question is on page 9 of the SS presentation. I have a question. This shows a target for revenue 3 trillion to 5 trillion in 2030. It's a range compared to 2 trillion in 2025. What scenario will make you achieve this 5 trillion yen? What kind of risks you see here so that you have the 3 trillion as a bottom side? And the IT service of domestic is 18%. So if you have more AI services, it will be going to the next level of the business. If you think so, could you share that perspective? The answer. Oka-san, thank you very much for your questions. So Mr. Abe is contributing this area. So Mr. Abe is going to answer to your questions. Thank you for your question. So as a background, when we talk about situation 5 years' time in digital world, there will be technology development. Market runs so fast, so it's difficult to mention it. However, for the market total, will be growing 6 to 7%, and we say 3 trillion. We are at 2.2 trillion in Japan, so 3 trillion to 8% growth, which is 2 trillion out of 3 trillion, should be able to be achieved. And I said I was confident earlier that SSD, the risks about materials, in engineers having high-end skills can be scaled or not. This is one of the risks. And whether customer continue to invest is one of the risks. But the people frontline are working very hard, so would like to really achieve 3 trillion yen, whether that is enough or not, from management. So non-linear higher growth should be able to be achieved through this 4 trillion, 5 trillion perspectives. For instance, this time starting from April, from CI sector, we have the digital department coming from industry, in Hitachi Solutions, Hitachi Systems, where we have industry capability and DSS to be infused to industry area, and CI sector capability, and also their customer base can be utilized by this team. So how we can scale is one of the cases. And as I said, in FDE prepared domain knowledge, I was also in the front line as well. So the OD knowledge brought up by that can be accumulated as agent or data so that we can increase scale, not only SI know-hows of DSS, but also OT sector domain knowledge will be accumulated as knowledge and data so that non-linear model can be reached by scaling. So in organic M&As, the one of the challenges that was shown in this 3 to 5 trillion yen from management perspective.
About profitability. About profitability, scaling using assets that would lead to increased profitability. Our target is to secure profitability of over 20%. So how can we really increase the turnaround using assets? The second question, so the receptivity of customers to digitalization AI. So Hitachi's HMAX revenue is 300 billion, and CAGR is very important. But you need to scale this further. This infrastructure, but applying AI in the infrastructure industry is taking time. So would it be after 2027 or even after 2030, or is this adoption accelerating? So and I think you are doing things like developing easy-to-use AI. So would the customer be more accepting to digitalization AI so that HMAX will grow further? Answer, that is a very important point. If this question came 1 or 2 years ago, I would have said it would take some more time because the receptiveness of the customers might not be that high. I might have answered this way. But now the scene has totally changed. There are 2 reasons. The customers themselves started to witness what is happening in the AI. They have started to use it themselves. So now they are more knowledgeable about what AI can do. And also, we have customer zero in Hitachi. And when we explain about what benefits the customer zero received and what HMAX can do, the customers are more interested, and they also want to receive such benefits. Infrastructure, which is very complex, HMAX Energy is showing concrete results. And as Giuseppe explained, not only global but domestic customers are also starting to adopt HMAX. Customers using digital and AI, I think this acceptance or receptivity is increasing very quickly. Thank you very much.
So time has come to finish. So I'd like to hear from Tokunaga-san about closing remarks. So again, thank you very much for participating in Hitachi Investor Day today. So it was a 3-hour session, and I'm sure you might be tired of this. However, I received constructive opinions and questions to which we are so appreciated. So today, if I say I can summarize it to one important message, so whether AI and risk or threat. So there are many investors who think AI is a threat or risks, but if you look at our facial expressions from our side, we are excited to face this AI opportunity. So we have this great business opportunity in front of us, which have never experienced by Hitachi in the past long history. So how we can capture this growth opportunity to improve our corporate value. So we are actually trying to capture it through One Hitachi activities, but society is uncertain to this level. So it's not something we can go whatever we want. We understand it. So with the discipline, and we want to increase the speed of the management, where we can capture AI growth opportunities. And down the road, while situation will change, worries, concerns that people in the market have should be understood by us so that we can respond to such questions. That communication is really important. So we will continue to create this kind of opportunity for dialogue so that we can listen to your voices, so that will use it to our management itself. Hitachi will continue to evolve toward becoming a global leader that continuously innovates social infrastructure through digital technologies. So to our shareholders and investors, please continue to hold high expectations at Hitachi's execution capabilities and sustainable enhancement of our corporate value. We humbly ask for your continued support and guidance. Thank you very much for today. Thank you.